Jiang Xuan looked at the scene in front of him with a splitting headache, the wooden table and chairs, the hard bed, the blue sky outside the plastic steel window, and the sound of insects and birds. Where is this? Jiang Xuan held her head, with gauze tied around her head. Isn't she dead? Died among zombies. She is the leader of the zombie removal team in the last days, but she encountered a wave of zombies during the mission. In order to cover the team members to escape, she lit explosives and perished with the zombies. It's just that the explosives have not yet detonated, and she has been bitten by the zombies. Jiang Xuan covered his neck, but there was no wound on it. How is this going? Hello, host, I am the merit system, number S00356. Jiang Sunchen jumped up from the bed. What the hell, who is talking? It's me, the merit system. You only need to use your consciousness to talk to me, you don't need to really make a sound. Jiang Xuan, what ghost system? This time Jiang Xuan just thought about it in his heart, but the system was speechless for a while. System, because you killed countless zombies in the last days, saved many people, and even sacrificed yourself at the last moment of your life, saved your team members, and accumulated enough merit, so you can be reborn in this normal world without zombies. Jiang Xuan was excited. A normal world without zombies? Is it a world that humans will rebuild by destroying zombies after the apocalypse? System, no, this world is not in the same time and space as your original world. It has its own timeline. Whether it will enter the end times in the future is still unknown. Jiang Xuan covered his head and walked to the window, opened the window. The air outside was fresh and clean. Unlike the last days, the air was filled with the rotten smell of zombies. Jiang Xuan took a deep breath. Smells good. At this moment, the door of the room was pushed open, and a middle-aged woman looked at Jiang Xuan coldly and even with some disgust. Awake? Come out to eat when you wake up. When she turned to leave, Jiang Xuan also heard her muttering, it's okay to roll down the stairs, my life is really big. Jiang Xuan asked the system, who is she? The system's calm and emotionless voice sounded in Jiang Xuan's mind, she is the original owner's aunt, Lu Huixian. The original owner was pushed down the stairs and died a second before you came through, so she was selected by the system to let your soul enter her body. Immediately after, the system transmitted the original owner's memory to Jiang Xuan. The original owner is also called Jiang Xuan, but according to the system, there are many people named Jiang Xuan in the 3000 worlds, and the system will give priority to letting Jiang Xuan choose people with the same name to travel through. The original owner is 18 years old and a high school student. His father is Zhang Chenjai, the president of the famous Chenjai Group. The original host's biological mother died when she was 1 year old. A month later, Zhang Chenjai remarried, and the new wife Feng Nianzhen brought a daughter into the house. It turned out that Zhang Chenjai cheated on Feng Nianzhen when Jiang Xuan's biological mother was pregnant and gave birth to a daughter Zhang Yuexi, who was only 2 months younger than Jiang Xuan. Jiang Xuan's mother became ill because of knowing this, and eventually passed away. After Feng Nianzhen entered the door, 2 years later, Zhang Chenjai gave birth to another son, Zhang Jixuan. When Jiang Xuan was 7 years old, Zhang Chenjai's business was not going well. Hearing Feng Nianzhen's instigation, he asked someone for fortune-telling, saying that sending Jiang Xuan to his uncle's house in the countryside would save Zhang Chenjai's business from disaster. In the end, it was a mistake. Not long after Zhang Sungong was sent away, Zhang Chenjai's business was booming, which made Zhang Chenjai believe the fortune-telling more and more. Only let Jiang Xuan stay at his uncle's house, and give his uncle's living expenses every month, and let them take care of Jiang Xuan. Jiang Xuan's aunt and uncle also had a son, 1 year younger than Jiang Xuan, so they spent all the living expenses sent by Zhang Chenjai on their son, and treated Jiang Xuan as long as she didn't starve to death. Restricted by the growth environment, the original owner has a pretentious and awkward personality, low self-esteem, sensitive and careful, and loves to misinterpret other people's words, so he is very unpopular in school and is often bullied. This time, he was pushed down the stairs, and he lost his life, so Jiang Xuan came through. Jiang Xuan sneered, Jiang's family is a bunch of bastards. His wife cheated during pregnancy, and she gave birth to a daughter named Jiang Yuexi. Yuexi, how could the original owner's mother not be stimulated when she heard it? The original owner grew up in such an environment. Come on, it's just a little awkward in character, and it's all good without being crooked. Only then did Jiang Xuan remember to see what the original owner looked like. She walked to the mirror and found that the original owner looked exactly like her. However, the original owner's body looked malnourished, with a yellow complexion and sunken cheeks. Although Jiang Xuan in the last days is not much better, but because conditions do not allow them, it is good to have food to eat, and they do not pay attention to nutrition. But the original owner was clearly in a peaceful and prosperous age, but he was still hungry and looked like a poor little man. Without saying a word, Jiang Xuan turned around and left the bedroom. When I came to the restaurant, I saw that my uncle's family had already eaten. The meat was placed in front of their son Luo Zhenhao, and in front of Jiang Xuan were pickles and green vegetables. Jiang Xuan, let alone meat in the last days, even eats less fresh vegetables. But since there is meat, who still eats vegetables? Jiang Xuan picked up his chopsticks and went to pick up the braised pork ribs in front of Luo Zhenhao. Liu Huixian stretched out his chopsticks to hit Jiang Xuan's hand, but Jiang Xuan quickly avoided it. Just kidding, you reading www.yuuganchu.com. She beheading zombies in the last days is like chopping melons and vegetables, but can Liu Huixian beat her? This is your brother's, you are not allowed to eat it. Liu Huixian was about to throw away the spare ribs that Jiang Xuan caught. Even if it is thrown away, Jiang Xuan will not eat it. Jiang Xuan threw the ribs directly into the mouth, spit the bones into the chicken soup in the middle of the table with precision, and splashed a few drops of the soup on the table. Jiang Xuan snorted coldly, now that chicken soup is her saliva, can this family eat it? Jiang Xuan, you are courting death. Even though Luo Zhenhao was a year younger than Jiang Xuan, he was a big man. He got up and raised his hand to beat Jiang Xuan. Jiang Xuan raised his leg and kicked Luo Zhenhao to the ground. Then, she frowned. The strength of this body is really much less. It was she who ignored it, the body was not her original body. Physical fitness is naturally not as good as before. In the last days, in order to fight against zombies, human beings themselves are also evolving with harsh conditions. The brain has also been fully developed, and the physical quality and mental power are far higher than the current human level. Coupled with the rigorous training she participated in after enlisting in the army, her physical strength far surpassed that of current humans. According to her original level, Luo Zhenhao would have been kicked by her and flew out through the wall. But this was the case. Jiang Xuan's sudden turn of face also startled the Luo family. How? Liu Huixian went to help Luo Zhenhao. How are you? Where is the injury? Uncle Luo Zongren blushed and grabbed Jiang Xuan. You stinky girl! I'll beat you to death today. Jiang Xuan kicked Luo Zongren to the ground with another kick. What you eat now is all the living expenses that Zhang Chenjai gave me. What can I not eat the meat I bought with my living expenses? Jiang Xuan asked loudly. Luo Zongren clutched his ribs. How did Jiang Xuan, this stinky girl, get so much strength? He was careless just now, and was kicked straight by Jiang Xuan. At this moment, Luo Zongren waved and went to hit Jiang Xuan. Jiang Xuan dodged, and punched Luo Zongren's rib, which was already injured, followed by another kick. Hearing Luo Zongren's scream, he rolled on the ground in pain. You girl! Seeing that both her husband and son were beaten, Liu Huixian jumped up and grabbed Jiang Xuan's face. Boom! Liu Huixian was kicked flying by Jiang Xuan. Having obtained the memory of the original owner, Jiang Xuan was also polite to them when he knew that the family would often beat and scold the original owner. We spent your living expenses. You have the ability to tell your dad to go. He has left you here for 11 years without paying attention. You can see if you file a complaint and he will ignore you. Lu Huixian clutched belly said. He doesn't care about me, but do you think he can let outsiders take advantage of him? The original owner didn't have a deep memory of Zhang Chenjai, but Zhang Sun still judged Zhang Chenjai's character. If she didn't have any skills, how could she have made her debut in the army, and even became a team leader to convince the team? She doesn't only know force. Sure enough, Luo Zongren and Lu Huixian stiffened and stopped talking. Zhang Sun ignored them, found a new big soup bowl, and poured the braised pork ribs, braised pork, and a roast chicken on the table into the big soup bowl. He picked up the big bowl of chicken soup on the table and took it back to the bedroom together. Luo Zongren gritted his teeth in pain. Why did that stinky girl suddenly become so arrogant? In the past 11 years, she has been allowed to be beaten and scolded by us, and she dared not eat a single bite of meat. Luo Zhenhao remembered a sentence, if you don't break out in silence, you will pervert in silence. She may break out and then pervert. Luo Zongren. Lu Huixian. After closing the door, Zhang Sun took a sip of chicken soup, then grabbed the roast chicken and ate it. It turned out that there was such a delicious food, she was so moved that she would cry. In the last days, how dare you eat meat casually? Who knows if there will be zombie viruses lurking in those animals? Host, what do we do next? Are we going back to Jiang's house to do something? The system's voice was full of expectations for doing something. Zhang Sun rolled his eyes, why do I want to go back? Zhang Chenjai is the father of the original owner, not my father. Besides, he is not good to the original owner, so why go back? I have come to a peaceful and prosperous world, what else can I do? System. How could it be assigned to such a jerk? System, host, I forgot to tell you. According to the established trajectory of fate, the original owner should be taken back to Jiang's house before the college entrance examination this year. Because I saw that my life was completely different from that of my sister Zhang Yuexi since I was a child. Zhang Yuexi was very from childhood to adulthood, she was a princess who was held in the palm of her hand, with brocade clothes and jade food. The original owner should have such a life, and the original owner was not open-minded. The more he thought about it, the more angry he hated Zhang Yuexi. Embarrassed Zhang Yuexi and wanted to take everything from Zhang Yuexi, including Zhang Yuexi's fiancé, and was finally killed by Zhang Yuexi and her fiancé. The original owner was 20 years old when he died. But now the original owner died unexpectedly early. The original owner return to the Zhang family's established trajectory. If he did not return to the Zhang family on time, he would return to the end of the world to be bitten and killed by zombies. Zhang Sun shivered, she didn't want to be infected and turned into a ghostly zombie. Then I'll just go back and continue to lie down with salted fish at Jiang's house. It doesn't matter. Zhang Sun had finished eating the roast chicken and started eating braised pork. The system was speechless for a moment. According to the established trajectory of fate, even if the core has been replaced by you now, but now the original owner is you are the original owner, and you will replace the original owner on her destiny trajectory, so you can't escape death at the age of 20. Your destiny. Unless you accumulate merit for yourself, start tasks with merit points, and obtain lifespan rewards for yourself, if you die at the age of 20, you will still be teleported back to the end times, the moment you were bitten and killed by a zombie, and you will be infected into a zombie. Zhang Sun. She really saw a grey task in the task panel. The primary task requires 20 merit points to open. Zhang Sun nibbled at the ribs and asked nonchalantly, how do you get the merit value? The system came to the spirit and introduced like a salesman, as long as the person who did the wrong thing can realize his mistake and sincerely apologize to you, an apology can increase the merit value by 1. You didn't tell me sooner. Zhang Sun suddenly threw away the ribs in his hand and got up and went out. The 3 members of Luo Zongren's family were eating vegetables with bitterness and hatred, and Zhang Sun took all the meat away. Seeing Zhang Sun suddenly come out again, the 3 of them all trembled. Could it be that Jiang Xuan doesn't even want to keep green vegetables for them? Jiang Xuan stepped forward and grabbed Luo Zhenhao's collar. You, apologize to me. Right. I'm sorry. Luo Zhenhao didn't understand what Jiang Xuan was doing. Jiang Xuan narrowed his eyes, his merit value did not increase. She slapped Luo Zhenhao on the head, insincere. You spent my living expenses in the past and beat and kicked me, shouldn't you apologize to me? I'm sorry. Luo Zhenhao cried out after being beaten. www.mtlnovel.com Merit value +1 Jiang Xuan let go of Luo Zhenhao with satisfaction, and looked at Luo Zongren again. You, apologize to me. You are my uncle, but you condone and even help my wife and children to bully me. Are you worthy of my mother? I'm sorry. Although Luo Zongren was angry, he didn't expect to be quite sincere. Merit value +1 and you. Jiang Xuan looked at Liu Huixian again. This time, without Jiang Xuan saying anything, Liu Huixian took the initiative to say, yes. I'm sorry. Merit value +1 in the future, be honest with me. After Jiang Xuan finished speaking, he went back to the bedroom. Luo Zhenhao slumped on the chair with a white face. Why is there a yaksha at home? System, host, the wound on your head can also be repaired with merit points. Hey! Jiang Xuan felt that the head injury was an eyesore in the early morning. She still wanted to seize the time to strengthen her body, and didn't want to be delayed by the head injury, but looking at the profiteer-like face of the system, she felt that things were not that simple. I want to how many? System, not much, only 3 merit points. Jiang Xuan, did you do it on purpose? You take it away as soon as I get 3 merit points. So when will she be able to start her first mission? System, the price is clearly marked, and the old man is not deceived. Besides, if the merit value is gone, can you earn more? Jiang Xuan pouted, okay, I'll pay. System, okay. Then, Jiang Xuan saw that the poor 3 merit value on the board became 0 again. System, host, your injury is healed. Jiang Xuan took off the gauze on his head, and sure enough, there was no injury at all, and it didn't hurt anymore. After Jiang Xuan was full, he immediately threw himself into training. On the weekend, there is a mountain behind the village. Jiang Xuan went to the mountain for training every day before dawn, and only came back after dark. Luo Zongren's family of 3 did not dare to provoke Jiang Xuan now, they just thought she didn't exist and didn't ask what she was doing. On Monday, before dawn, Jiang Sunchen carried his school bag and ran all the way to the school in the town. She went to high school in the town. She usually lived on campus. Jiang Xuan didn't like to go back to Luo's house. This time, he was sent back because of a head injury. Unexpectedly, Luo Zongren's family refused to take her to the hospital, so they let her lie down at home. Only then did the original owner die and Jiang Xuan came through. Wenping village is more than 30 kilometers away from Wenping town. Jiang Xuan is running to exercise. After doing the exam papers all morning, she found that she was very good at science subjects such as mathematics. Because in the end of the world, human beings pay more attention to the research and development of science and technology to fight against zombies. Jiang Xuan's scientific knowledge from childhood to adulthood is much more advanced than it is now. But things like liberal arts and history won't work. At noon, Jiang Xuan was gearing up to go to the cafeteria for a big meal. On the way, the system said, host, the merit value can also be added to brain power, physical strength, hearing, speed, etc. When you add some merit value to the brain power, these problems will be solved naturally. Why didn't I see what you said? Jiang Xuan looked through the panel. System, these can only appear after unlocking the first mission. Jiang Xuan, okay, then I'll get 20 merit points first. As he was talking, the 2 boys rammed straight towards Jiang Xuan. Jiang Xuan easily avoided it while chatting with the system. Jiang Xuan, your injury will heal so quickly? It looks like you can roll a few more stairs. a girl said maliciously. Jiang Xuan found that she was surrounded by 3 men and 2 women. The surrounding classmates were hiding far away, and no one dared to come over. Jiang Xuan had the memory of the original owner and knew that the 3 boys were school bosses, and the 2 girls followed them. And the reason why the original owner rolled down the stairs was pushed by these 5 people. One of the girls, Tang Qianqian, suddenly spit out the chewing gum on the ground, and pretended to squeeze her throat. Oh, the chewing gum accidentally fell off. Another girl, Mo Xiaoyu, smiled maliciously, don't waste it, Jiang Xuan, pick it up and eat it. Jiang Xuan gave the 5 people a cold look, and Yutela took a step forward. What are you looking at? Don't hurry up and pick it up. Jiang Xuan bowed expressionlessly. System. It doesn't believe that this big guy is really obedient. I just hope these 5 people don't cry for a while. Just when Jiang Xuan's fingertips were about to touch the chewing gum, Tang Qianqian crushed the chewing gum with 1 foot. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't stand firm. Tang Qianqian retracted her foot. Quickly pick it up and eat it. The chewing gum has turned grey, and there are patterns on the soles of Tang Qianqian's shoes. The 5 looked triumphantly as Jiang Xuan stretched out his hand to pick up the chewing gum that had been crushed on the ground. While waiting for her to eat, Jiang Xuan turned his hand and pressed the chewing gum directly into Tang Qianqian's mouth. This change made the 5 people not regain their senses for a while. Tang Qianqian dully tasted the chewing gum in her mouth and the smell of ashes on the soles of her shoes, and heard Jiang Xuan say, eat it by yourself, so you won't waste it. Ah! Tang Qianqian screamed and quickly spit out the gum. He spit out the dirt and dust in his mouth again, ba ba ba, but he still felt dirty. Jiang Xuan, you've broken your brain. Tang Qianqian was so mad that she reached out and scratched Jiang Xuan's face. With Yutela and the others here, Jiang Xuan never dared to fight back. But this time, before the nails touched Jiang Xuan's face, he saw a cold light from Jiang Xuan's eyes. As if, in Jiang Xuan's eyes, he is not a living person. The system thought to himself, Jiang Xuan's eyes were like this when he killed zombies. She looks at you as if she were looking at a zombie, but it really doesn't look like she's looking at a living person. Jiang Xuan grabbed Tang Qianqian's ponytail and pulled her scalp painfully. Ah! Tang Qianqian screamed in pain, as if her scalp was about to be pulled off. Suddenly she felt a dragging force, and then she flew up. It was Jiang Xuan who pulled her hair and threw her back. Boom! Tang Qianqian fell to the ground. Jiang Xuan looked at the remaining 4 coldly. These 5 people pushed the original owner down the stairs. And the original owner is dead, and the 5 of them are the murderers. It's just, because she crossed over and replaced the original owner. In the eyes of the world, if the original owner is still alive, the 5 people cannot be brought to justice. Jiang Xuan, you are courting death. Zhao Dijia, the head of the school tyrant, shot at Jiang Xuan. He never felt sorry for Jiang Xuan to be a girl. Jiang Xuan bent his knees against Zhao Dijia's stomach. Zhao Dijia bent down and became a shrimp, opening his mouth and retching. Jiang Xuan raised his leg and kicked him in the face. Zhao Dijia fell to the ground, and with a bang on the back of his head, he hit the ground hard. But Jiang Xuan controlled his strength, just to make him hurt, not to let him die like the original owner. The surrounding classmates all gasped. This voice, it hurts to hear. Following closely, Jiang Xuan kicked the school bully and punched Mo Xiaoyu. All 5 were lying on the ground and wailing in pain. Jiang Xuan carried Zhao Dijia's back collar and placed him on Taile's body. Then Fang Zhengui, Tang Qianqian, and Mo Xiaoyu. Let these 5 people lie on top of each other like stacking arhuts. www.mtlnovel.com. Jiang Xuan grabbed Mo Xiaoyu. You, what are you doing? Mo Xiaoyu was terrified. How could Jiang Xuan be so brave all of a sudden? Mo Xiaoyu's face was covered in tears, snot, and tears. Apologize to me. Jiang Xuan said coldly, you have been bullying me and pushed me down the stairs, almost killing me, apologize to me. Mo Xiaohu thought that Jiang Xuan was not doing well. Where does it look like you almost died? But she didn't want to be beaten anymore, so she hurriedly said, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Mo Xiaohu apologized repeatedly. Grit value +3 Jiang Xuan. As long as it is a sincere apology, how many times the other party apologizes, how many merit points can be added? And such a good thing? Continue. Jiang Xuan waited to harvest the merit value. System. Why is there such a bug? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Mo Xiaohu said repeatedly. But there is no merit. It seemed that he was too scared to apologize, but he was no longer distracted. Jiang Xuan stopped talking nonsense with Mo Xiaohu and turned to Teng Qianqian. I'm sorry, I'll never dare again. Teng Qianqian cried. Merit value +1 sorry. Teng Qianqian gave Jiang Xuan 4 merit points. The remaining 3 boys also gave her a total of 10 merit points. Jiang Xuan took a look. She now has a total of 17 merit points. Jiang Xuan, it seems that merit value is also very profitable. System. No, you are the one who earns the most meritorious virtues I have ever seen. Jiang Sunzhen pulled the 5 people up. What are you doing? The principal said in a panicked voice in anger. Everyone looked at the sound and saw that there was a young man beside the principal. His facial features were like a knife carved into the bone, and every point was just right. The fat principal, who was 1.75 meters tall, was standing beside him, and the comparison was horrific. The principal hurried over. Qin Mufeng donated a lot to their school, from funds to laboratory buildings and so on. As the next head of the Qin family, Qin Mufeng not only donated money to their school, but also came to inspect it in person. In addition to being flattered, the principal also wanted to leave a good impression on Qin Mufeng, so that Qin Mufeng knew that his donation was not in vain, and he could continue to donate in the future. Originally, everything went smoothly, and Qin Mufeng was also very satisfied. Who knew that when he was about to send Qin Mufeng away, he encountered a suspected student fight. The school bully 5 have already stood up, and they are a little flustered and don't know how to explain. Jiang Xuan said confidently, they pushed me down the stairs before, and they were just apologizing to me. Jiang Xuan looked back at the 5 people, and the 5 of them were shocked and said, that's it, we are especially sorry for Jiang Xuan. I'm sorry. The 5 of them apologized to Jiang Xuan in unison. Grit value +3 Jiang Xuan, is it so easy to add merit value? System. It doesn't want to talk anymore. Jiang Xuan, however, who didn't apologize sincerely. Jiang Xuan turned his head to look at the 5 people in displeasure. The 5 people shivered when Jiang Xuan looked at them, and the 3 school tyrants hurriedly showed Jiang Xuan a pleasing smile. Teng Qianqian and the 2 girls lowered their heads and dared not look at Jiang Xuan. Jiang Xuan narrowed his eyes. It seemed that Teng Qianqian and Mo Xiaohu did not sincerely apologize. The principal knew that these 5 people would always cause trouble in school, and they would not change after repeated teachings. There is no doubt about Jiang Xuan's words. However, I don't know if it's an illusion. Seeing that these 5 people look like quails behind Jiang Xuan, I always feel that Jiang Xuan is more like a school tyrant than them. Why? The principal said embarrassedly to Qin Mufeng, Mr. Qin, the students in our school are usually very harmonious and friendly. It's okay. Qin Mufeng didn't care much, it's good that they already knew they were wrong. Qin Mufeng glanced at Jiang Xuan lightly. Jiang Xuan has been eating a lot in the past 2 days, and he also ate a lot of meat. His little face has finally recovered a little, and his complexion is much better than before, but he is still not healthy, he is still thin and small. There is only one pair of eyes that are clean and clear, amazingly bright, and people will never forget her eyes at a glance. Jiang Xuan himself is very good looking. The original owner looks just like her, but the nutrition has not kept up with her, so she looks inconspicuous. Now there is a little bit of color faintly revealed, but it is not very obvious. Yes. The principal breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed that Qin Mufeng would not pursue it. Mr. Qin, please come here. The principal left with Qin Mufeng. Jiang Xuan also left these 5 people behind, went to the cafeteria, and built the meat as high as the hill. System, host, you have eaten so much, can you hold it in your stomach? Jiang Xuan, I've been hungry for a long time in the last days. I can eat as much as I can while I have something to eat now. What if I can't eat here in the future? System. By the way, can I start the mission now? Jiang Xuan glanced at him, and now he has exactly 20 merit points. System, all right. Jiang Xuan went to start the mission. Do you choose to exchange 20 merit points for primary tasks? Jiang Xuan decisively chose yes. Primary task, let Zhang Chenjai pick you up personally. Quest reward, increase the lifespan by 1 year, and open the ability plus point panel. Jiang Xuan rolled his eyes, I don't even have Zhang Chenjai's contact information now. System, the host doesn't have to worry. According to the original owner's destiny, Zhang Chenjai will send someone to take the original owner home a week before the college entrance examination and on his 18th birthday. At that time, the host only needs to find a way to make Zhang Chenjai come in person. Jiang Xuan stuffed 3 meatballs into his mouth at one time, nodded wholeheartedly, we'll talk about it later. Now there are 18 days left before the college entrance examination, the school has stopped teaching, and the classrooms are all used for self-study for students. Self-study is also voluntary. Students can go home to prepare for the college entrance examination by themselves, or they can study by themselves in the classroom. Jiang Xuan is now smearing these courses, just waiting for the task to be completed to add some brain power. So, Jiang Xuan went straight out of the school and went to Wenping Mountain not far behind to train. Qin Mufeng was driving on Wenping Mountain in his car. He came this time mainly to investigate the situation of building a hot spring villa in Wenping Mountain, and it was just a passing visit to Wenping High School. The reason why he invested and sponsored Wenping High School was also to open up many relationships in Wenping Town and facilitate the smooth progress of his hot spring villa construction plan. Now the construction of the hot spring villa is going very smoothly. The car drove up the mountain road, and Assistant Zhang Chenan suddenly said, "Hey, isn't that the girl I saw at Wenping High School at noon?" Qin Mufeng looked over www.mtlnovel.com and saw Jiang Xuan was running along the mountain road. She took her eyes back and ignored her. When they got to the top of the mountain, the person in charge took Qin Mufeng and Zhang Chenan from the top of the mountain to the mountainside, and introduced the exploration of Wenping Mountain in detail. While Qin Mufeng was listening, out of the corner of his eye caught sight of Jiang Xuan's figure running in the mountains, and raised his eyebrows silently. He can run quite well. At 4:20 in the afternoon, Qin Mufeng and Zhang Chenan got into the car and prepared to go down the mountain. Driving to the mountains, Zhang Chenan said, again, President, it's still the little girl from before, isn't she running now? This physical strength is a bit arrogant. Is it a sports student? Otherwise, why do you fight so hard? Qin Mufeng turned to look at Jiang Xuan. Seeing Jiang Xuan stop at a fork in the road, he looked left and right, he didn't seem to know which way to go. After hesitating for a few seconds, Jiang Xuan chose a path and ran out. That's the way up the mountain. Zhang Chenan said subconsciously. Go to the fork and stop. Qin Mufeng ordered. Sure enough, it didn't take long for Jiang Xuan to run back again. Qin Mufeng lowered the car window and saw Jiang Xuan looking over with a strange face. After running for an afternoon, Jiang Xuan's face turned red, and his breath was a little out of breath. However, in this way, it looks much healthier than at noon, and even a little more beautiful. Jiang Xuan's eyes lit up and he recognized Qin Mufeng. Lost. Qin Mufeng put his fingertips on the armrest of the car door, knocking on and off. Jiang Xuan was Liu Qi in the last days, and no one in the team dared to let her lead the way. But she firmly refused to admit it. There are too many forks in this mountain. Jiang Qinan couldn't help laughing. Qin Mufeng lifted his lips. Get in the car. Jiang Xuan didn't try to be brave, so he got into the car quickly. She was physically strong enough to run down the mountain, but she couldn't find the right way. Thank you. Jiang Xuan closed the door. Qin Mufeng raised his eyebrows in surprise. He thought that Jiang Xuan had been running for an afternoon, sweating, and it would smell a little bit. He was ready to endure it. But she didn't want to, but there was a refreshing and sweet fragrance on her body, which had nothing to do with the smell of sweat. Why do you come here to run if you don't have class? Qin Mufeng squinted his eyes secretly. He met twice a day, either by coincidence or intentionally. He wanted to see what the girl had in mind. The college entrance examination is approaching, and now it's all self-study classes. I felt bored, so I came out to exercise. Jiang Xuan answered truthfully. Qin Mufeng didn't know if he believed it or not, and he didn't show the slightest bit on his face. Jiang Xuan only felt that when he looked at him from a distance before, he was a gentleman with a clear wind and bright moon, but now sitting next to him, he found that this person was terribly cold, and his whole body showed a temperament that no one should approach. She had only seen the aura of Qin Mufeng's body from their marshals in the last days. Just thinking about it, Jiang Xuan noticed Qin Mufeng's gaze. She also turned to look back. The two stared at each other for a long time. Jiang Qinan looked at them from the rearview mirror and was speechless for a while. What are these two doing? But what's up with this little girl? To be able to stand under Qin Mufeng's gaze for so long, and to meet him, is really not easy. Qin Mufeng lifted his thin lips and said slightly mockingly, the mountain road is dangerous, wear your seat belt. Jiang Xuan lowered his head and mumbled while he fastened his seat belt, just say no sooner, what have you been looking at me for? It seems that his brain is not very good. Qin Mufeng, who is not very smart, said. Wenping Mountain is not far from Wenping High School. Within 5 minutes, the car stopped at the school gate. Jiang Xuan thanked Qin Mufeng again, opened the door to get out of the car, but forgot that he was still wearing his seat belt. He got out of the car and walked in a hurry, but was pulled back by the seat belt. When Jiang Xuan was pulled by the seat belt and fell directly on Qin Mufeng's lap without any precaution, she still thought that it was because in the apocalypse, in order to facilitate combat at any time, she did not have the habit of wearing seat belts. Are you lying down enough? For some reason, Qin Mufeng's voice was a little tight and slightly hoarse. Jiang Xuan came back to his senses, and quickly covered the back of his head and got up, complaining to Qin Mufeng, your belt buckle is holding me. This time, I didn't forget to unbuckle my seat belt. I thanked me again, thank you for taking me back. After speaking, he got off the car and ran into the school. Qin Mufeng looked down at his waist, there was no belt on it. Jiang Qinan withdrew his gaze from Jiang Xuan's back, thinking that this little girl was throwing her arms in her arms just now. Check her. Qin Mufeng said coldly. Jiang Xuan still didn't know that he was under Qin Mufeng's conspiracy theory. Now she just wants to make merit. The 20 merit points I got earlier were all used to start the mission, but the mission was not completed for a while. She has to get some merit points as soon as possible, and after completing the task, she can add the merit points to her brain power. While running and exercising in the school, Jiang Xuan was thinking about merit and virtue when he saw Zhao Dijia, Fang Zhengui and Yu Taile, 3 school bullies, crowding a boy with glasses in the corner. Zhao Dijia also jabbed the boy with glasses on the forehead with his fingers. Jiang Xuan. Isn't the merit value coming? System, host, you look more like a school tyrant. Jiang Xuan was too lazy to pay attention to it, so he rushed over and shouted excitedly, what are you doing? When the school bully turned around and saw that it was her, he was immediately shocked. You still dare to bully your classmates? The three shook their heads again and again. Don't dare, we are just friendly exchanges. Do you think I look like a fool? Jiang Xuan sneered, apologize. The three of Zhao Dijia said in their hearts that when they met Jiang Xuan today, it was really bad luck. If you don't bully anyone, don't say it, the school's prestige will not be guaranteed. The three of them all bowed their heads to the boy with glasses. I'm sorry. Jiang Xuan pointed to himself, apologize to me. The three of Zhao Dijia. What the hell? You still dare to bully people even though you know I'm at school, do you look down on me? Do you have to apologize to me if you look down on me? Jiang Xuan asked with his hands on his hips. The three of Zhao Dijia. This statement is unreasonable but there is no way to refute it. I'm sorry. The three of Zhao Dijia bowed their heads and apologized honestly. Grit value +3 a sincere apology, Jiang Xuan is very satisfied. After the three of Zhao Dijia left, the boy with glasses quickly thanked Jiang Xuan. I don't know how I can help you. Jiang Xuan was so powerful, the boy with glasses scratched his head. My name is Yu Bingbing, but as long as I can help, you can tell me. Since then, she has found a good way to harvest merit at school. Jiang Xuan used his spare time to patrol the school everywhere, not letting go of every corner. The campus is full of Jiang Xuan running around. Seeing the three of Zhao Dijia bullying others, he went up to ask them to apologize. Soon, she got 21 points of merit. www.mtlnovel.com. Jiang Xuan found that the campus was unusually harmonious, and Zhao Dijia and the three of them would never be seen bullying others again. There are very few people in the school who have not been bullied by the school bully. Everyone is grateful and admired Jiang Xuan from the bottom of their hearts. I don't know who started it. Seeing Jiang Xuan one by one, they all called the boss. Jiang Xuan felt that this was not possible. How could she gain merit if it went on like this? Jiang Xuan thought of Yu Bingbing. The self-study class has just ended, and Yu Bingbing is also reading during the break. There are students in their class at the door shouting excitedly, Yu Bingbing, the boss is looking for it. Yu Bingbing rushed to the door excitedly, Boss, what's the matter with me? Jiang Xuan. Jiang Xuan silently accepted the title of boss, and hooked his hand towards Yu Bingbing, go hook up. Introduce the trio of school bullies. Yu Bingbing hugged himself, Boss, I like female classmates. Jiang Xuan. I'm asking you to block the school bully trio. When they want to bully you, I'll show up again. Jiang Xuan explained. Yu Bingbing held back for a long time, then said cautiously, Boss, are you fishing? I feel bad for the school bully trio. But with Jiang Xuan here, I don't panic. Yu Bingbing and Jiang Xuan hid behind a tree and saw the trio strolling towards the classroom with snacks bought at the school's small supermarket. Yu Bingbing excitedly said to Jiang Xuan, Boss, I'm going. Jiang Xuan encouraged him, Go, try to get them to attack you. Yu Bingbing. Yu Bingbing walked straight to them and stopped, blocking the way of the three of them. Zhao Dijia frowned, What are you doing? Yu Bingbing didn't speak, and wrote You guys bully me all over his face. The school bully trio. We are not school bullies now. Zhao Dijia said. Fang Zhengui, we wash our hands in a golden basin. Yu Tailet, I've changed my mind. With Jiang Xuan here, they won't be school bullies in their entire lives. Grit value +30 Jiang Xuan blurted out in surprise, What the hell? System, the villain has completely rehabilitated, and the merit value has doubled. The specific value will be calculated and determined by the system. The trio of school bullies heard Jiang Xuan's voice and looked over together. The three of them dropped their snacks and knelt down. Jiang Xuan clearly wanted to go fishing just now. It's not enough that she patrols the school, she also fishes. This is too much. The three of them only had luck left. Fortunately, they didn't even have the will to be a school bully at all, otherwise they would have to be caught by Jiang Xuan. Zhao Dijia raised his hand and cried, Boss, we really know we're wrong. Fang Zhengui, we will never bully people again. You Tailet, boss, we want to be good people. Okay. Jiang Xuan turned his head and left. It is naturally a good thing that the three of them can correct their mistakes. The merit value in her hand now is enough for the time being. In such a short time, it was only a week before the college entrance examination. At 10 a.m., the students are still studying in the classroom. At this moment, a black BMW parked in front of the school gate of Wenping High School. A middle-aged man in his 40s, dressed in a suit and leather shoes, got out of the car. He found the office where Jiang Xuan's head teacher was located, and handed out his business card. Hello, I'm Jiang Xuan's father's assistant, Min Zhengming. Before coming, Mr. Jiang and Jiang Xuan's uncle have contacted you. The head teacher nodded. Please come with me. The head teacher took him to the door of Jiang Xuan's class, opened the door, and saw that the students were all consciously studying by themselves, showing a satisfied look, so he said, Jiang Xuan, come out for a while. When Jiang Xuan heard this, he came out of the classroom and saw Min Zhengming. Jiang Xuan muttered in his heart, System, you said that Zhang Chenjai will send someone to pick me up today, is this the person? System, I'm not sure, but according to the time, it should be. Talk slowly. The head teacher said to Min Zhengming, and then instructed Jiang Xuan, if you have something to do, find the teacher. Okay. Jiang Xuan nodded and watched the head teacher leave. Miss Jiang, I'm your father's assistant. My name is Min Zhengming. Min Zhengming's attitude towards Jiang Xuan was not respectful, but he was not dismissive. Mr. Jiang sent me to pick you up home. Jiang Xuan raised his eyebrows. How do I know what you said is true? Not here to abduct and sell girls. Min Zhengming. You give Zhang Chenjai a video call to show me, and I will believe you. You can also ask your uncle, he also knows. Min Zhengming said in his heart that it would be inappropriate to make a video call to the president during working hours. He treats me badly. What if he finds a partner and sells me? Min Zhengming. Anyway, if you can't prove that you are really the one sent by Zhang Chenjai, I won't go with you. Min Zhengming listened to Jiang Xuan sip Zhang Chenjai one by one, as if he did not consider Zhang Chenjai a father at all. He pressed the strangeness in his heart, so he had to make a video call to Zhang Chenjai. After a while, the phone was connected. I saw Zhang Chenjai frowning and asked angrily, what's going on? I've already met Miss Zhang, but she hasn't seen me before, so I hope I can make a video with you to prove that you really sent me here, and I'm really not a human trafficker. Min Zhengming explained helplessly. Zhang Chenjai Xin said that this daughter has not seen her for many years. Why are there so many problems? Let her see. Zhang Chenjai said displeased. Min Zhengming pointed the screen at Jiang Xuan and saw that it was indeed Zhang Chenjai. Jiang Xuan nodded and heard Zhang Chenjai say, you come back with Assistant Min, just bring the book test questions for review, and your mother has prepared the rest for you. Already. Although he didn't have much affection for this daughter, he wouldn't let her go home and wear those ordinary clothes in the countryside, which would make him humiliated. You come to pick me up in person, or I won't go back. Jiang Xuan said with a cold face. Min Zhengming looked at the father and daughter who did not have any touching scenes when they met, and everyone was numb. I thought it would be enough to prove that he was really sent by Zhang Chenjai, but who knew that Jiang Xuan would make a new mess? Why is she doing so much? Zhang Chenjai pursed his lips displeasedly, and said to Min Zhengming, I'll leave it to you, don't bother me with this trivial matter. Yes. Min Zhengming responded quickly. After hanging up the phone, he said to Jiang Xuan, Miss Zhang, the president is busy with work, you better come with me. Now it has been proved that I was indeed sent by President Zhang, so you can rest assured. You call him again. If he doesn't pick me up in person, I won't leave. Jiang Xuan thought about the 20 merit points he used to start the task, and he couldn't lose anything. Min Zhengming lost his patience and his expression fell. Miss Zhang, this is not your time to be self-willed. www.mtlnovel.com. Mr. Zhang can still remember you, isn't it a good thing for you to pick you up? Go back? In the future, when you become the eldest lady of the Zhang family, won't you be better than now? There is no need to ask President Zhang to come over in person to save face. Zhang Xuan obviously has no relationship with Zhang Qinzhai. He insisted that Zhang Qinzhai come over in person, not for face, but for what? Think about Zhang Qinzhai's second daughter, Zhang Xuan's half-sister Zhang Yuexi, who is gentle and sensible, generous and decent, and Zhang Xuan is like heaven and earth. No wonder Zhang Qinzhai prefers Zhang Yuexi. Seeing Zhang Xuan's coldness and stubbornness, he was obviously nothing, and he was still trying to keep his face, which made people feel ridiculous. It seemed that Zhang Xuan wanted to compete with Zhang Yuexi before he went back. She is really a troublemaker. Zhang Xuan smiled, seeing what Min Zhengming meant. She felt that Zhang Qinzhai could still remember her, so she should be grateful to date. You shouldn't feel angry and unfair for being abandoned by Zhang Qinzhai for 11 years. If Zhang Qinzhai, including the people around him, have such an attitude, then he can't blame the original owner for always feeling unfair and resentful. Min Zhengming continued to say, Miss Zhang, after you go back, learn more from Miss Zhang Yuexi. Be generous and decent, and don't make trouble at home. I say this for your own good. At this moment, the get-out-of-class bell rang. The self-study students walked out of the classroom to exercise, and the corridor suddenly became noisy. Min Zhengming frowned impatiently. Come with me. Zhang Xuan walked ahead. Min Zhengming said in his heart that Zhang Xuan was not without merit. At least he knew that the current noisy environment was not suitable for conversation, and he knew that he could find a quiet place. Boss, happy birthday! Hello boss, happy birthday boss, long life! Happy birthday, boss, Xiaobi Nanshan! The classmates I met along the way, when they saw Zhang Xuan, all sent their blessings. Zhang Xuan was very happy and thanked her for responding one by one. Longevity and longevity are indeed the best wishes for her. Min Zhengming is stupid. What's going on in this school? Why do all the students in the school call Zhang Xuan the boss? Is Zhang Xuan still a school bully? Min Zhengming couldn't help looking up and down Zhang Xuan. After more than 10 days of hard work, Zhang Xuan is now well nourished, his face is rosy, and he is even more beautiful. It has to be said that under careful consideration, Zhang Xuan, who has no makeup, seems to be a bit prettier than Zhang Yuexi who wears makeup. It's just that she has thin arms and thin legs, so she's a school bully? Min Zhengming shook his head. How could he have such a funny and ridiculous idea? Boss! Zhao Dijia bumped into Zhang Xuan hidden, and hurriedly said, Happy birthday! Fang Zhengui caught a glimpse of Min Zhengming beside Zhang Xuan pursing his lips and frowning, looking unhappy and impatient, and asked Zhang Xuan in a low voice, Boss, who is this person? Come to trouble you? Zhang Xuan nodded, Come with me. The surprised eyes of the three of them lit up. The boss is treating them as his own. Do you want to value them? Boss, whatever you tell me. Yutela said excitedly, the sword is in a sea of flames, our hearts are on the ground, and we will die. Zhang Xuan, it's not like that. No matter what, thank you boss for letting go of the past and giving us another chance. Zhao Dijia followed Zhang Xuan step by step. Min Zhengming. He listened to their conversation, and the more he listened, the more wrong it became. What did Zhang Xuan do? Miss Zhang, this is a private matter. It's not good for these three classmates to follow. Min Zhengming hoped that Zhang Xuan and the three boys would have some discernment and a little understanding of the world. Then let's go. Zhang Xuan said decisively. Min Zhengming. Unexpectedly, it was me who was driven away. The three of Zhao Dijia raised their heads on their hips, extremely proud. The boss still takes us as his own. Zhao Dijia told Fang Zhengui and Yu Tai moved. Yes, compared to that uncle, the boss obviously likes us more. Yu Taila felt at ease. Min Zhengming. While they were talking, they had already reached a corner of the campus that was rarely visited by people. Thanks to the relationship of being righteous and brave all over the school these days, Zhang Sun has a thorough understanding of every corner of Wenping High School. Ask you again. Zhang Sun impatiently told him more, will you give Zhang Chenjai a call? I also said that the CEO is so busy that it's impossible to come over in person. What's the difference between you and me? Min Zhengming couldn't restrain his temper. Miss Zhang, I advise you not to do so much things. Be calm, and life will be better when you get home. The three of Zhao Dijia probably understood that this person was here to take Zhang Sun home. With such an attitude, I think Zhang Sun's family doesn't treat her very well. Zhang Sun nodded and said to the three of Zhao Dijia, tie him up. The three of them touched themselves all over, but couldn't find the rope. You two catch him, I'll look for the rope. Zhao Dijia put down these words and ran out a few steps, still within their line of sight. Then he shouted, who has the rope? The boss uses it. Min Zhengming. That's how you found the rope? Yu Taila and Fang Zhengui rushed towards Min Zhengming. What are you doing? Min Zhengming was shocked. Do you still want to do something with me? This is the school, I'll tell your teachers, tell your principal, and let you be punished. Yu Taila and Fang Zhengui didn't care about this, they held Min Zhengming down on the thick tree trunk. Min Zhengming usually neglects to exercise, whereas Yu Taila and Fang Zhengui's opponents. Not far away, a girl held a skipping rope and handed it to Zhao Dijia. Is it okay to skip rope without a rope? Zhao Dijia took the skipping rope and tugged it a few times. It was very strong. Okay, thank you. Min Zhengming saw the girl blushing and smiled. The boss needs it, it should be. Min Zhengming. What happened to the students in this school? Are you all crazy? Zhao Dijia was beaming with the skipping rope and ran back, tying Min Zhengming firmly to the tree. Min Zhengming was furious. What are you doing? Let me go. At this time, the girl who just lent Zhao Dijia the rope skipping suddenly greeted, everyone, come and see, the boss has tied a person. Min Zhengming. As soon as the girl said hello, a group of students came to watch and pointed at Min Zhengming. The boss tied him, he must have done something bad. The boss never bullies good people. Tisk, at such an old age, I'm still not a good person, I despise him. Min Zhengming. Shouldn't you go to the teacher to deal with this? Zhang Sun stepped forward, snatched the phone from his hand, pointed the screen at Min Zhengming's face, and unlocked his phone. Immediately after finding Zhang Chenjai's WeChat account, Yu reading www.yuuganchu.com dialed the video call. The bell still rang for a long time before Zhang Chenjai got connected, and asked impatiently, why? Before he finished speaking, he found that Zhang Sun's face appeared on the screen. And Min Zhengming was tied to the tree behind Zhang Sun. What are you doing? Zhang Chenjai's blood surged. How can this daughter, whom I haven't seen in 11 years, make trouble like this before she comes back? I said, you come to pick me up yourself. Zhang Sun said coldly. Impossible. Zhang Chenjai was extremely angry. You let assistant Min go, come back obediently, what is it like to tie people up like this? Are you a school bully? Min Zhengming thought she was the school bully, didn't she? The whole school calls her the boss. If you don't come, I will surrender myself. Zhang Sun raised his eyebrows. Zhang Chenjai broke out in a cold sweat. What is it? What did you do? I went to surrender and said I kidnapped assistant Min. Zhang Sun smiled. When the news comes out, you will be the one who will be embarrassed. President, you believe her, she can really do it. Min Zhengming said with a sad face. Zhang Sun is a little lunatic. Moreover, the students in this school are also crazy. He was wrong, he was really wrong. I thought that coming to pick Jiang Xuan home was just a simple matter. Thinking that Jiang Xuan was left in the countryside for 11 years, knowing that he could go back to the imperial capital and become the eldest lady of the Jiang family, he must be very grateful. Who knew Jiang Xuan would be so difficult? Jiang Qinzhai. Min Zhengming looked at Jiang Qinzhai eagerly. President, come and pick me up. Jiang Qinzhai is not sure if Jiang Xuan can really do it, but Min Zhengxian obviously thinks Jiang Xuan can really do it. Jiang Qinzhai took a deep breath. Wait, I'll go right over. Min Zhengming finally breathed a sigh of relief. Merit value +1, okay? Jiang Xuan looked at Min Zhengming strangely. How could this person give her merit points when she's okay? What do you think? Jiang Sungzhen said that adding merit is such a good thing. How much do you add? Min Zhengming forced a smile. I'm thinking, the imperial capital is 2 hours away by car, and the president will be here soon. Can you let me go? I'll let you go when he arrives. After Jiang Xuan finished speaking, he waited quietly for a while. But I didn't see the system prompt to increase the merit value again. System, host, Min Zhengming's merit value just now is an unexpected gain, just accept it as soon as you see it. Even if you lick it again, you won't be able to get anything out. Jiang Xuan, how do you know if he still has stock if you don't try it? Are you going to tie me here for 2 hours? Min Zhengming became anxious. If you let me go, I'll be right here and won't run away. You reminded me. Jiang Xuan turned his head and waved to the onlookers. Everyone, go back to self-study, don't waste time here. Min Zhengming said in his heart that these students were obviously here to watch the fun, and they didn't necessarily take Jiang Xuan as their boss. At this moment, she asked the students to go back to study, and the students went back. Are you really taking yourself as the boss? The boss has spoken, let's go back to self-study. Someone in the crowd said. Let's go and listen to the boss. Don't let the boss worry about it. As the students chanted, they scattered. Min Zhengming. Sorry, he was wrong again. Merit value +1 Jiang Xuan, look, isn't this stabbed again? System. Yutela moved a chair out of nowhere. Sit, boss, we won't go to self-study, just watch him here. Go back and get the book to read here, and by the way, bring mine too. Jiang Xuan sat down. Okay, boss. Fang Zhengui received the order, dragged Zhao Dijia and ran away together. After a while, the two moved 3 more chairs and came back with a bag of books. An hour later, Min Zhengming looked at Jiang Xuan and the 4 who were sitting in front of him. They were reading with their heads bowed, and no one paid any attention to him. The point is, the 4 of them were sitting while he was tied to a tree. On a hot day, I don't know if there are any ants on the tree trunk. Thinking of this, Min Zhengming felt itchy. He was wrong, he was really wrong, he shouldn't have come. In the future, he will never provoke Jiang Xuan. If he can hide, he will hide. If he can't, he will be obedient. Merit value +1 Jiang Xuan looked up at him. What's up with this man? System. Miss Zhang. As soon as Min Zhengming opened his mouth, he was interrupted by Zhao Dijia sternly, call the boss. Are you polite? Min Zhengming. Jiang Xuan. Boss. Min Zhengming changed his words carefully. Jiang Xuan. He really changed his mouth, and he was too obedient. My arm is numb from the rope, can you loosen it up for me? Min Zhengming said with a bitter face, it's okay for me to change my posture. His feet were numb. Thinking of his contribution of 3 merit points just now, Jiang Xuan said, are you wrong? System, you got it, host. I really can't get it out. Min Zhengming, I was wrong. Merit value +1 system. My face hurts. It doesn't matter. Love is dripping, dripping. Jiang Xuan then said to the school bully trio, let go of him. Zhao Dijia obediently went to untie Min Zhengming. Min Zhengming was about to cry. Now that the sun is shining, his face is red from the sun, and his back is soaked with sweat. He was moving his hands and feet, but saw the trio of school bullies dragging chairs around him in front and on both sides, completely blocking him in front of the tree trunk. Min Zhengming. He really doesn't run. The smell of food came from a distance, and then the students came out of the teaching building and walked towards the cafeteria. Min Zhengming's stomach growled, gurgling. After a while, I saw a boy running over with 2 bento boxes. Boss! Yu Bingbing handed one of the bento boxes to Jiang Xuan. I know you will definitely go to the cafeteria, so I ordered you a meal. Thank you. How much money? I will transfer it to you. Jiang Xuan said as he took the lunch box. Yu Bingbing scratched his head. 15. After Jiang Xuan helped him before, Yu Bingbing wanted to invite Jiang Xuan to dinner, but Jiang Xuan resolutely refused to agree, only saying that 1 yard is 1 yard. So now Yu Bingbing is no longer polite. After Jiang Xuan transferred Yu Bingbing's meal money, he also asked Zhao Dijia and the others to eat. So Zhao Dijia and the 3 discussed it, and Zhao Dijia went to buy 3 meals to eat. Min Zhengming smelled the increasingly strong aroma of the food, and swallowed his saliva hungry. Hungry? Jiang Xuan said while holding a chicken leg. Min Zhengming nodded. Jiang Xuan, do you regret coming? Min Zhengming, yes. Jiang Xuan waited and waited, but the merit value did not increase. It seems that it is really impossible to get it. At this time, the system sneered, after all, merit value is not so easy to obtain. Jiang Xuan, really? But in 11 days, I got 75 merit points. www.mtlnovel.com. I don't see how difficult it is. System. It's wrong. Merit value +1. Jiang Xuan couldn't hold back his hey and laughed. I actually got the merit value of the system. System. When Zhang Chenjai arrived, he saw Min Zhengming squatting on the ground, pitifully watching Jiang Xuan 5 people eating there. Ding! Zhang Chenjai will personally come to pick you up and complete the task. A sentence flashed in Jiang Xuan's mind quickly, and before he looked carefully at the rest, Zhang Chenjai had already walked over. Jiang Xuan temporarily put down the quest reward and planned to look back. President. Min Zhengming hurried to Zhang Chenjai's side as if he could see it. I'm here, you pack up and come home with me. Zhang Chenjai saw Jiang Xuan with a very ugly expression, and there was no touching memory of father and daughter reuniting after a long time. Jiang Xuan got up indifferently and went back to the classroom to pack his school bag. As Min Zhengming said before, there is no need to bring luggage. Feng Nianzhen is all ready. Feng Nianzhen is willing to play the role of a good stepmother, but Jiang Xuan doesn't care. Anyway, it was Zhang Chenjai's money, and Jiang Sunhua was righteous. She doesn't need it, and it's cheaper for others. Boss, are you leaving? When Jiang Xuan walked to the school gate, he was followed by a group of students, from the first year to the 3rd year. Boss, we can't bear you. If you don't leave now, you will have to leave after the college entrance examination. Jiang Xuan stopped at the school gate and waved to everyone, don't send them away, we'll see you by fate. You, boss, don't worry, the 3 of us are really not school bullies. Even if you're not here, we won't bully our classmates. Zhao Dijia said. Boss, where are you going? Go to the imperial capital. Yu Bingbing said with red eyes, Boss, wait for me, I will definitely get into the university in the imperial capital and find you. Zhang Chenjai. What happened to these students? How did Jiang Xuan become the boss? Zhang Chenjai looked at Min Zhengming, expecting him to clear his doubts. But he saw Min Zhengming walking to the front of the car, opening the back door. Boss, please take a seat. Jiang Xuan sat in, and Min Zhengming closed the door before going to open the door for Zhang Chenjai. Zhang Chenjai. Whose assistant is this? Boss. Zhang Chenjai mocked. Min Zhengming froze all over, and couldn't help but slapped himself. All of those students shouted one by one, and they all brainwashed him. Zhang Chenjai and Zhang Sun sat in the back, and neither of them spoke. Zhang Chenjai was also very displeased with Zhang Sun insisting that he come over in person. As for Zhang Sun, it is simply because he is not familiar with Zhang Chenjai, so there is nothing to say. Anyway, she was idle, so she went to see the reward for completing the task just now. Completing the task, the reward will increase your lifespan by 1 year. Open the Ability Addition panel, please select an ability from the following options to add it to the panel. A. Brain Power B. Physical Strength C. Strength D. Speed Zhang Sun. Did I say your system is so tricky? Zhang Sun was speechless. It's hard to open the panel, and you can only choose one ability to join the panel. Can't you be more sincere and less routine? Just open the ability for me. What about adding some panels? System, this is the fault of the system developers, I don't bear it. Don't be angry, the host, anyway, it's so easy for you to earn merit points, and you can quickly add all your abilities to the panel. Zhang Sun, haha, you seem to be mad at me. The stingy system obviously remembered what she said before about merit and merit. The system is pretending to be dead and doesn't speak. What can Zhang Sun do? You can only choose A, brain power first. As a result, another sentence popped up in his mind. Do you choose to spend 10 merit points to add brain power to the panel? Zhang Sun. No, isn't this a quest reward? Why do you want me to spend additional merit points to add it? Zhang Sun gritted his teeth. System, the task reward is to enable the permission to use the Ability Addition panel, and does not include adding abilities to the panel. Zhang Sun pouted. Fortunately, she now has 56 merit points, which is barely enough. I chose yes. With a ding sound, there is an additional item of brain power in the panel. Zhang Sun sharpened his knife and wanted to add the remaining 46 points of merit to his brain power. Clicking the plus sign behind brain power, who knows, another sentence pops up. Whether 10 points of merit are exchanged for 1 point of brain power. Zhang Sun. Zhang Sun was too lazy to say anything to the system. The system embarrassed, it's all the developers' fault. You developers, if you don't become profiteers, you're really a condescending talent. Zhang Sun said coolly. He then converted all 40 points of merit into 4 points of brain power and added it to his brain power. In the moment of adding it, Zhang Sun felt a coolness glide across his mind, as if something had cleared up. Zhang Sun immediately took out a set of geography test papers from his school bag. I found that the answers that were somewhat vague and uncertain before, will now be corresponding knowledge points, as well as the teacher's previous explanations, quickly popped up in his mind. Some were forgotten by the original owner, some were not understood by the original owner, and some were knowledge points that the original owner failed to absorb. But now it's all clear. Zhang Sun tried several sets of test papers for other subjects, all of which were the same. She knows even those complicated questions. Unexpectedly, only adding 4 points of brain power can have such an effect. Zhang Sun thought to himself, the system pit is a bit of a pit, but the effect is not compromised. With nothing to do, Zhang Sun glanced at the new task again. The next task is still a primary task, but it requires 50 merit points to unlock. Now the task bar is still locked, and Zhang Sun can't see the task requirements. Now I can only start accumulating merit points again. Silent all the way to Jiang's house. Inside the Zhang family villa, Feng Nianzhen had already prepared Zhang Sun's room and checked it again. Dad doesn't pay attention to her. Mom, why are you so grand? Zhang Yuexi sat on the sofa and complained. It's just superficial skills. Feng Nianzhen came back, in front of your dad, it's time to pretend. The more reasonable we act, the better for her. If you conflict with her, the more your dad will believe us, not her. I wouldn't treat her as a sister anyway. Zhang Yuexi pouted and said unhappily, really, we were a family of 4, how wonderful. Now Zhang Xuan is an outsider, really at ease. Besides, she will come to share the things between me and Jixuan. Feng Nianzhen clapped her hand, no one can take anything that belongs to your siblings. She will not have a good life when she comes to our house www.mtlnovel.com. However, we will plot against her behind the scenes, but when she comes to our house www.mtlnovel.com in front of your father, you have to show a friendly look. Don't worry. Zhang Yuexi said this with a proud look on her face. I am a person who has passed the National Academy of Drama's performance class in the art exam, so I can't even act like this. Feng Nianzhen said with a smile, however, your dad has no feelings for her, otherwise he couldn't leave her in the country for 11 years. That is to say, she must be brought back when she is old. We just sent an assistant today to pick her up. She didn't take her to heart at all. We only need to act on the surface while calculating behind her back. Even if she complains, your dad will only stand by our side. Wind and waves. Treat yourself as a poor relative from the countryside. Be patient for a while, I'll be able to sweep her out sooner or later. Feng Nianzhen covered the back of Zhang Yuexi's hand and whispered. Madam, Miss. It's the husband who came back, and he seems to be carrying. Mrs. Zhang, the servant at home, came over and glanced at Zhang Yuexi carefully before saying, that Miss Zhang is back. Zhang Yuexi was stunned for a moment, her face darkened immediately. Isn't that saying that Dad doesn't pay attention to her at all? Why did he bring her back in person? Feng Nianzhen snorted lightly, maybe it happened to happen when I came back. But now it's working time, and Dad usually doesn't come back at this time. Zhang Yuexi followed Feng Nianzhen to the entrance and waited. You'll know after a while, it's not for her to come back anyway. Feng Nianzhen smiled, you don't think that your father can pick her up for such a country girl, right? It's been all these years, just because of our brainwashing from time to time, your dad has long stopped taking her seriously. It's just a blood relationship. At this time, there was the sound of Di opening the door, and Zhang Chenjai brought Zhang Xuan in. This is Zhang Xuan, right? Feng Nianzhen looked gentle, why did you come back with your father? He picked me up at school. Zhang Xuan glanced at her as if she had asked a stupid question. Feng Nianzhen's smile froze, but Zhang Chenjai actually went to pick up Zhang Xuan in person. Could it be that Zhang Chenjai lied to her? Didn't Zhang Chenjai say that he didn't have any feelings for Zhang Xuan? Why did you pick it up in person? Zhang Chenjai didn't want to talk about the shameful thing that he was threatened by Zhang Xuan. Zhang Xuan, this is your mother, this is your sister, Zhang Yuexi. Zhang Xuan stared straight at Feng Nianzhen for a long time, staring at Feng Nianzhen's heart, and then asked, isn't my mother dead? Is she cheating? Then you are very brave. Zhang Xuan looked at Zhang Chenjai with admiration. Feng Nianzhen's expression froze, her eyes turned red, and she looked at Zhang Chenjai with a forbearance. She is your stepmother. You have to treat her with the same respect as your mother. Zhang Chenjai said angrily, stop saying those stupid things. Stepmother. Zhang Xuan raised his eyebrows. In ancient times, when the first wife entered the door, you had to kowtow to the original wife. Although we don't talk about that now, the original wife and the second wife have to be distinguished to some extent. Although there are some people maybe I don't remember my mother, but as a daughter, I must remember. Especially, my mother gave others a chance to give birth to me, didn't she? Shut up for me. Zhang Chenjai's hands were shaking angrily, and he pointed at Zhang Xuan, when you come back, will the house be disturbed? If you want to disturb the house, get out of here. Oh. Anyway, the task is completed, she still has 3 years to live, and the future will be discussed later. She earned the extra 3 years of living. Zhang Xuan turned around and walked out without any hesitation. Instead, Zhang Chenjai froze and couldn't get off the stage. If you go out this way, don't recognize me as a dad in the future. Zhang Sun rolled her eyes in front of him, as if she wanted to recognize. Didn't you let me go? Chenjai. Feng Nianzhen hugged Zhang Chenjai's arm and said, in general, Zhang Sun has been raised in the countryside for 11 years, so she is bound to feel resentment. Although she doesn't understand your difficulties back then, but after a long time, she will always understand. The girl from the countryside has no rules. She has grievances. Who is she complaining about? Isn't that Zhang Chenjai? Feng Nianzhen gave Zhang Sun eye drops in one sentence, and gave Zhang Chenjai a step down. Since your mother interceded for you, forget it this time. Zhang Chenjai said harshly, next time. Zhang Chenjai paused, unable to speak. Zhang Sun could really turn his head and leave. How on earth did she live in the countryside, with such a bad character? Dare next time. Zhang Sun said immediately. Zhang Chenjai. Zhang Sun was too lazy to pay attention to him, so he turned to Feng Nianzhen and said, Aunt Feng, I heard that you even set up a room for me. Where is it? Feng Nianzhen's mouth trembled, and she said, Zhang Sun, if you really don't want to call me mother, you can call me Aunt Feng. Aunt Feng, she called her as if she was the nanny at home. Aunt Feng, show me the way. Zhang Sun said again. Feng Nianzhen. This stinky girl, doesn't she understand human words? In front of Zhang Chenjai, she could hardly hold back her gentle expression, and there was a momentary crack on her face. Seeing Zhang Chenjai looking at him strangely, Feng Nianzhen quickly held up her gentle smile, come with me. Feng Nianzhen took Zhang Sun into her bedroom. Not to mention, Feng Nianzhen's superficial skills can still be done. It's pretty good for her bedroom. Zhang Sun opened the wardrobe, which was empty. Feng Nianzhen explained with a smile, I don't know your size and preferences, so I don't dare to buy clothes for you rashly. Tomorrow we'll go to the mall together. I'll buy you what you like. Isn't Zhang Sun going to take the college entrance exam soon? Now that you're back, don't even think about reviewing. She takes Zhang Sun out every day. Seeing that Zhang Sun didn't study hard, how many points can he get in the college entrance examination? No, I'll go by myself. Zhang Sun stretched out his hand towards Zhang Chenjai, give me a secondary card and I'll buy it myself. What supplementary card? This stinky girl, with such a bad temper, still wants a supplementary card? How can I say it's the eldest Miss Jiang's family? You left me outside for 11 years before coming back. You don't even compensate me for Zhang's supplementary card. It's not a shame to spread it out? Aren't you the most embarrassed? Zhang Sun raised his hand. Chin, if you don't give it to me, and I won't go shopping for clothes, I'll just walk around in this outfit. People outside don't know who I am, but the neighbors in the community always know. Let people see, you even have a new dress. Don't buy it for me. System, I'll be obedient. The host not only has a high force value, but also has a thick skin. This is the first time I see someone asking for money and such a rogue. Feng Nianzhen saw that Zhang Chenjai really wanted to loosen up, and said hurriedly, Zhang Sun, you haven't come back until 11 years later, and the imperial capital has changed a lot. How can you go alone if you are unfamiliar here? I will accompany you there. And can help you with the staff style. Yes, sister, you have been in the country for 11 years. www.mtlnovel.com. You don't know much about the styles and aesthetics that are popular now. Don't buy them that don't look good, it's even more embarrassing to go out. Zhang Yuexi also said. Feng Nianzhen will definitely not buy Zhang Sun clothes that suit her. Clothes are expensive, but Zhang Sun doesn't necessarily look good in them. Feng Nianzhen thought more, she didn't even have Zhang Chenjai's secondary card. Zhang Yuexi has been coquettish for so many years, but not long ago, she finally persuaded Zhang Chenjai to give Zhang Yuexi a supplementary card. Zhang Chenjai, please don't give Zhang Xuan the secondary card that you want to give to Zhang Yuexi. I checked it out on the way here. The best shopping mall in the Imperial City is Qinyang Department Store, which is full of luxury brands. The designs of those brands have always been at the forefront of the world's fashion. How can I go wrong in choosing from there? If not, there is also a shopping guide to help me. Zhang Xuan continued to reach out. As the eldest lady of the Zhang family, I must wear some famous brands, right? Otherwise, people will laugh at them. I think Aunt Feng and Zhang Yuexi wear expensive brands. Zhang Chenjai pressed his eyebrows, and now he just wants Zhang Sengziao to stop making a fuss. He gritted his teeth, took out a card from his suit pocket and gave it to her. Take it, go buy some tomorrow. I'm tired and want to rest. Zhang Xuan happily accepted the card and instructed, Aunt Feng, call me during dinner. Feng Nianzhen took a deep breath, her smile trembling. Zhang Xuan really took her as a servant? The three of Zhang Chenjai left Zhang Xuan's bedroom, and Feng Nianzhen accompanied Zhang Chenjai back to the room to change clothes. She took out the home clothes for Zhang Chenjai and applied eye drops to Zhang Xuan. After all, she has been abroad for 11 years, and she doesn't want to be with us. She doesn't want me to accompany you when she buys clothes. Feng Nianzhen handed over the clothes to Zhang Chenjai and took the shirt Zhang Chenjai had replaced. By the way, how come you happen to have a ready-made supplementary card?